It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across the USA and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley and I'm Gary McNamara. Well, interesting to see over the weekend how the narrative has continued to evolve on Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. I'll play this. This is Democratic Representative Jamie Raskin on with Chuck Todd from Meet the Press.
I know that a lot of the technical defense of the president with Hunter Biden is, well, the president didn't do anything wrong. But as Michael Kinsley once said, the real scandal in Washington is not what's illegal, it's what's legal. Should there be a code of conduct, something for family members here? Because the appearance of what Hunter Biden did is not good.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there is a lot of, influence in Washington that's based on people's family connections.
Last
and family
names
ties.
matter a lot on K Street. I know.
Last names matter a lot on K Street. I'm so glad he's going to be gone. He's just horrible. I mean, he's just it's not even worth trying to challenge him anymore because he's so poor at what he does. Yeah. But that's for another time, maybe in 5 minutes.
Next segment.
But the entire thing, should there be a code of conduct, something for family members here, because the appearance of what Hunter Biden did is not good. And, the technical reasons, what the hell is he talking about, technical reasons? Either evidence exists or it doesn't exist. This isn't technical here. It's evidence-based. Yeah. It's we're not trying to fill out a math equation here. But what I got out of this is you saw, I think, the beginning of the final shift. Now, maybe they can come up with another one in between. But what I have seen now is, whether it was the New York Times, we mentioned this earlier, the New York Times last week saying, well, this isn't new. We all knew. Everybody knew that Joe Biden was involved in some of his son's business activities. Really? We'll get to that here in just a moment. You may have known. You weren't reporting that.
Yeah.
Are you admitting that you knew and didn't tell anybody?
Right.
But 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, maybe a little over 2 weeks ago, I can't remember the exact date, is when Biden was still saying that, no, I've had zero, no, I know nothing about my son's business interest at all, nothing. And Karine Jean-Pierre verified it. Well, now we're to the point of, things are really done that was wrong by Hunter Biden. Hunter, this narrative has moved on even because it was Jamie Raskin who really was the one that was bringing that up. The illusion of influence. And now we know it was Jamie Raskin who said it. It wasn't Devin Archer. Then with Devin Archer, again, after speaking with Tucker, it even gets, more damning with the things that he told Tucker Carlson the other day and he said that Biden's claim that he had no role in Hunter's foreign business dealings is categorically false, is one of the headlines out there. Ukrainian prosecutor whose ouster Biden pushed was a threat. Was a threat, which means the Ukrainian prosecutor, the fact that he would get fired he was a threat to the head of Burisma, because the head of Burisma made it known to both of them, and that's now, we all know that now. So right. So that narrative has moved on. The excuses that the Democrats were giving over and over again every day, it's drip, drip, drip on one side, but it's also the water's being let out from the Democrats' narrative day by day by day. And so you lost that one. And then what was the other one? Okay, I've got, the claim that where Devin Archer came right out and said it's absolutely false, categorically false, that he had no role in Hunter's foreign business dealings. You've seen the narrative now. Well, Hunter was just manipulating his father. That one now's gone.
That's gone.
That is gone. And now it's, well, he might have been involved and knew about his son's family business, but he didn't know the minutia of it. And if he did something wrong, he didn't know he was doing something wrong because he just has so much love for his son. And he's giving his son the benefit of the doubt because he loves his son. This is simply a story of a father and a son and a father's love for a son. Even that isn't holding water anymore.
No, it isn't.
And
the whole idea, of each of these firewalls that they tried to put up was ludicrous, and it was bound to come out. The one that had, and that narrative only lasted a few days, that Hunter was doing things, but Joe didn't know about it. It was all Hunter. At some point, you find out, once you follow everything, you understand he clearly knew it and he was involved. I don't know where they go next. I really don't know where they go next. He didn't do anything illegal or just flat out prove it, Jack.
We knew you're eventually going to get to that point. And that's the point I believe we got to over the weekend. And then you look at everything that happened last week. National Review on a story that last week yet another fact emerged suggesting that Joe Biden had indeed been involved to some degree in his son's overseas business dealings, contrary to what he himself stated during the 2020 presidential election. And the New York Times ran to the president's aid with the old classic old news defense. Quote, It has long been known that the elder Biden at times interacted with his son's business partners, the paper of record declared on Monday. Is that so? You mean the thing that Joe Biden vigorously denied in the 2020 election has long been known? Recall that Biden declared in the 2020 election, I have never discussed with my son or my brother or anyone else anything having to do with their business, period. And that is what I will do. And what I will do is the same thing we did in our administration. He added, there will be an absolute wall between personal and private business interests in the government. There wasn't any hint of scandal at all when we were there, and I'm going to propose the same kind of strict rules. That's why I never talked with my son or my brother or anyone else, even distant family, about their business interest, period. The same year, during the campaign event in Iowa, Biden insisted again he had never, ever spoken to his son about his business interest. I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, Biden said. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be looking at Trump. Everybody looked at allegations that I spoke with Hunter about his overseas business activities, and everybody looked at it, and there is nothing there. Ask the right questions. Later, after it became increasingly likely that Joe had, in fact, interacted with his son's business partners, the White House amended ever so slightly the president's earlier assurances. Quote, the answer remains the same, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said in July. The president was never in business with his son. I just don't have anything else to add. Well, that was a cute revision. Biden's initial claim was, I've never discussed with my son or my brother or anybody else anything having to do with their business, period. Then the line begins, the president was never in business with his son, or as Bill Clinton might have said, it all depends on what the meaning of business is. Now, courtesy of the New York Times, a new talking point is, been there, knew that. Of course, silly us for reading that line. It has long been known that the elder Mr. Biden at times interacted with his son's business partner and doing a spit take. The New York Times charitable act of goalpost shifting this week comes on top of all the other efforts by news and entertainment industries to dismiss the obviously troubling Biden corruption allegations. It comes on top of the particular noxious spin that says the entire story, from Joe Biden's possible financial benefit to claims he interfered in U.S. foreign policy on behalf of foreign interests with very large wallet is really one of a father's enduring love for his son. And that's in National Review. Then, of course, the New York Times spin comes on top of the fact that nearly every major newsroom in 2020 promoted the falsehood that the Hunter Biden laptop, the contents of which suggest that the younger Biden regularly traded on his father's name to enrich the family, was likely a product of a Kremlin disinformation campaign. There you go. Hunter admitted later that the laptop in question is indeed authentic and that it does belong to him. So those of you keeping score at home, news media narratives regarding the Biden family's alleged corruption have progressed. Thus, the laptop is fake. Okay, the laptop is real. Joe Biden never talked with Hunter about business. Joe Biden wasn't involved in Hunter's business. It has long been known that the elder Biden at times interacted with his son's business partners. The next talking point likely will be something along the lines of Joe Biden should be proud of his involvement in Hunter's businesses. It's what a loving father would do. It has long been known that that is how the media operate when a scandal involves a Democrat. So just preparing you, as we have before, as to what will happen. And then Jonathan Turley has the article. Remember that Biden dinner that Joe Biden never attended? Well, he did.
Yeah.
The Bidens are the best at doing exactly what the chairman wants. That WhatsApp message to the Chinese business associate was a perfect example for the entire Biden corruption scandal. Part of the brilliance of the Biden influence peddling operation was to invest the media in the denial of any scandal. That is no more evident than the much-discussed 2015 dinner of President Joe Biden with his son's foreign associates. The alleged dinner demolished Joe Biden's long denials of any knowledge with his son's dealings, according to the Biden campaign. Accordingly, the Biden campaign denied he ever attended, and the media happily dismissed the account. Well, the dinner meeting reportedly occurred. He attended, and as usual, most of the media has not fully informed their readers or their viewers. Indeed, even though Deputy Press Secretary Andrew Bates was central to this denial, most of the media cannot be bothered with such trivial things. And they go through the entire thing about what not all, but so many of the mainstream media said. The Biden team and its allies went into full crisis mode. Andrew Bates, who was still with the communication team of the 2020 campaign, assured the public it was false. Politico reported that he had reviewed Joe Biden's official schedules from the time, and no meeting, as alleged by the New York Post, ever took place. It also reported that Biden's campaign was punching back on the Post story as false. Biden associate Michael Carpenter denounced it as part of a Russian disinformation campaign, and they go on and on and on and on and on with all the different media outlets. Well, found out it was true. He was there. Yep. And that's the thing that you have here. That's the difference with this scandal, is this scandal, you think about everything encompassing this, including the censoring of COVID. This all goes back to the censoring of the laptop. This, if Republicans make their case, they make their case that not only Biden was corrupt, but the Department of Justice is corrupt.
Yep.
The FBI is corrupt.
Yep.
Our intelligence agencies are corrupt. The media is corrupt. And
it's a full-on implosion.
Yeah, that the media, mainstream media, will willingly go along with lies and corruption as long as it's their candidate.
Yep.
866-90 Red Eye.
A 3-day rash of active weather in the South has led to
more than 50 tornadoes from eastern Texas to Florida and southern Georgia, based on preliminary reports.
Through Thursday, according to USDA meteorologist Brad Rippey. Most notable, a Wednesday tornado that traveled through New Orleans. One person is confirmed dead from tornadic activity in the Crescent City. 3 are believed dead from tornadoes across the South this week. As for rural areas,
for farm operations that have been hit by these tornadoes and high winds, there is considerable recovery and repair that will need to be done in the wake of this storm system.
tornadic events were just one aspect of an active weather pattern covering much of the nation this week. High winds were also featured in blizzard conditions, stretching from the northern plains to the upper Great Lakes region. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
The USDA report is brought to you by Cenex Roadmaster XL Premium Highway Diesel Fuel.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Carly, and I'm Gary McNamara. So the question you have to ask is, how long does this go on? Because it's really been the last 2 to 3 weeks where the major changes have happened here. Mm-hmm. You know, Devin Archer testifying, as we know, the whistleblowers, testifying, but really all the information that we have gotten over, which has changed the narrative of the White House and the Democrats from this is a guy who didn't know anything about his son's business dealings at all, to, okay, yeah, he knew about his son's business dealings, but not enough to be criminal. And so there's only one thing left for the Republicans, and that's why I say you're at the point now, and that changed so quickly in a couple of weeks that, you know, where do you go from this point on? You haven't even held the hearings of that would be an impeachment inquiry, or even beforehand. If you bring everybody in to testify for a day or two, I don't think they'll do that. I think they'll wait for the impeachment inquiry to do something like that. But if you held hearings without the impeachment inquiry, it might even help you get to an impeachment inquiry if the witnesses and the evidence is slam dunk. The one reason, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, or I said this about a week ago, I believe that the Republicans believe that they have enough. That's why they've gone on. That's why Kevin McCarthy brought up and said impeachment inquiry, because they believe they knew a lot of this stuff. Because what you got over this weekend, and Devin Archer being on Tucker and the things that he came out and said, it's absolutely clear now that Biden was involved in the business. He knew about the business. He knew about what it was. You're taking away every excuse. Even when Jamie Raskin was asked about Hunter and Joe, he just went right to Jared and Trump.
Yeah.
And was never questioned and said, excuse me, it's not the same thing.
Right.
Jared did business afterwards that involved actually this development or this commercial thing that they're working on. They're actually in a business. Tell me what the business, because if any journalist would ask that question, tell me what business the Bidens are in. I can tell you what business the Trumps are in.
Well, and that's it.
What business are the Bidens in? What are they selling?
Well, and that all of that would have been profiled during his years as vice president. All that the liberal media would have been showing off. It's okay if Biden was doing, if he had a legitimate business. If there were a family business, the liberal media would have profiled that endlessly. And, of course, they weren't going to do that. The business is influence.
And that's why I have to ask, how long is this going to go on before they move to an impeachment inquiry? I don't see where you go on from this point unless it's – because a lot of it would be redundant. Another witness saying this on another thing, and it would be piecemeal. Maybe you'd bring up a couple of the other, the Chinese deals. You have another witness there, another business partner there who testifies in the next couple of weeks. But eventually what you have to get to is the money trail.
Yep.
And how long will it take to go through that?
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. All right. Now, you think this law is going to pass, or this bill's going to pass into law? It's not law yet. It was a bill. More than 24 House Democrats put forward legislation Friday that would help slap semi-automatic weapons and high-capacity magazines with a 1,000% excise tax. A change that would raise the price of a $500 weapon to $5,000. Under that rule, a weapon that normally costs $2,000 would now cost $20,000. The same 1,000% increase in the tax would be imposed on a semi-automatic assault weapon, which last year's bill defined as a semi-automatic rifle or pistol with a fixed magazine of 10 rounds or more that have other various features. So now it's gone beyond just rifles. Now we're into handguns.
It was always going to be.
Where we knew that they wanted to go.
It was always going to be.
So what it would be is we have thought, what have they called this bill here? I don't see the name of the bill. We personally liked the title of the bill, the Only the Rich Can Have Guns bill.
Arm the rich.
Arm the rich.
Arm the elite bill.
Yes.
Yeah. We were going to go with Obamacare, but that's already been taken. That's apparently already being used. We were going to use Bidenomics. That also might apply in certain ways. Yeah, this is not going to happen.
You know, you and I were talking about this. We believe that, do a quick count, but I believe you have the votes. But we said the Republicans should go along with this and say, okay, yeah, let's
do the vote.
Let's push your bill through and see how many votes we get.
Come on.
1,000% excise tax on most handguns and rifles.
Everybody on record. Let's go.
Let's go. Everybody on record. 1,000% tax.
Right.
Now, of course, the Republicans would vote against it, and it wouldn't matter because the Supreme Court, the courts would knock this down.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know what the excuses would be. Well, we're not banning them. We're simply taxing them. We're not banning them. And the Supreme Court would say, no, it's a de facto ban on anybody who doesn't have a lot of money, which is the majority of the population.
Right.
You're denying them their Second Amendment right and claiming it is a tax.
Yeah.
So just to well, if we tax all the guns, then we don't have to worry about the deficit anymore.
Right. Yeah. Sure. Here's the problem.
And if
Trump will still be able to afford guns. What? So will Elon Musk. No!
And see, that's why DeSantis wants to become president, so someday he could afford a gun.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone will become wealthy enough one day to hopefully be able to afford a gun.
A gun, right, exactly.
Yeah. This is one of these ridiculous things that they believe is, showcasing their values, which, by the way, it is. They are showcasing their values.
Well, I mean, it's about the dumbest bill that you could come up with, which is why I think that Republicans should challenge them on it. Because when I read it, I went, oh, my God. My first reaction, oh, my God, the Democrats are saying none of the poor or the middle class should be able to own guns.
Right.
They're making it clear.
Right.
Like, Wow. And so when I said, didn't they try this a ways back? And remember, they did. They introduced it, but it never couldn't even get through the Democrat Congress.
Yeah,
which is why the Republicans should allow it to come up for a vote.
Yeah, come on.
All right, let's see. Everybody go on record.
Mm-hmm.
Go on record. You're not banning guns. You only want 1,000% excise tax on it. That's all. Go ahead. Use that one.
Yeah.
Use that lingo. Go out and attempt to sell that to the American public.
Yeah.
You may have a little
pushback.
problem with that.
Maybe. Just maybe. Yeah, I would love to see the the reaction on the Democrats' face. I'm sorry, the speaker is doing what? He said what? Yeah. No, we don't want it up for a vote. We don't actually want the head count on all the Democrats. Just a handful, just those radicals who can afford to do it.
Well,
forward.
There's a reason that they did it. I mean, and the reason that they did it is because they want to ensure. I mean, it helps keep their liberal bloc there, their liberal bloc who approves of it, and at least we're trying to do something. Well, the Republicans might want to say, "Well, let us help you do something."
Yeah, right.
Let us help you show how unpopular it is in your party when the majority of your House votes against you on it because they don't want it. I don't know if they'll do that or not, but it would be interesting. Now, do you know why? Because as I said before, I don't know what I have less interest in. The women's U.S. soccer team or this Zuckerberg cage fight with Elon Musk. How did this come about?
Well, the women started playing soccer years ago, and then they apparently formed a team.
How did we allow women to get into sports? Oh, Title IX.
How in the world did this ever happen? Well, turns out women can actually play soccer.
We've been allowing women to play sports? I'm a Democrat. We can't have that.
We can't have that.
Get the men in there.
Guys, come on. And that's pretty much how it came about.
Well, I think I meant the Zuckerberg Musk fight, but I enjoyed I enjoyed going down that path immensely.
Well, Zuckerberg says he's not holding his breath. And I don't know. I think he is holding his breath because last time I saw a picture of him, he was blue. He might be holding his breath. But he says he's not holding his breath in the proverbial sense over this whole thing. I don't know. He takes jiu-jitsu classes, and
I think Zuckerberg was lifting weights, or Elon Musk was lifting weights.
Knows Joe Rogan. I mean, do we need that? Do we need that?
I saw the one guy. What's the guy? I can't think of his name. Who's the head of the UFC or whatever? Is it White? Dana White?
Oh, Dana White?
Yeah.
Did he say something about it? I didn't see it.
This would be the greatest fight of all time.
Oh, no.
Okay,
no.
stop it.
No.
That's what it was like. Something like that. This would be the greatest fight of all time, the greatest match of all time.
No.
No. Yawn.
No.
You're really trying to hype that up, aren't you?
Yeah, no.
Oh, the one thing you mentioned, Rogan. He's totally on the fact that the media isn't paying attention to the Hunter Biden thing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just blown away by it. This is where it starts expanding out into more than just the traditional conservative media, which, by the way, enough people have read, so 60%, and this is over a month ago, because it was July 4th through the 6th, I believe, the survey, the poll was taken, that at that point, and so much has happened since that time, that 60% believe that Joe Biden is illegally covering up his family businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And that, that was just huge. And now you've got, Joe Rogan and others out there.
Yeah.
He still has the most popular podcast in America today. And a lot of the people that listen to him are not traditional conservatives.
No, this is where it crosses over into pop culture.
Yep.
And gets that kind of exposure. And when he and his comedian buddies, and many of them are very liberal, they look at it and they're scratching their head going, what is going on? And when that has the type of impact that can have, we'll see, but it can have with his reach, with Rogan's reach, can be sizable because you have people looking at it for what it is. It's not Tucker Carlson saying it. It's not somebody that's in the right-wing media saying it. These are people who are saying it as a matter of a discussion on a number of things, as podcasts kind of go all over the place. But when they bring up something like this and you do it in pop culture, then you start to see that everybody is paying attention. It's those who insist really on burying their heads in the sand that won't talk about it.
Well, I thought it was interesting that it seems like also the left media was bringing up, whataboutism, that this is why this is happening, is because this is simply conservative and Trump supporters, not looking at the Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, connection and and whether the president is compromised because of it and whether there were bribes that were taking place when he was vice president. They're making it sound as if this has just come up in the last couple of days and is whataboutism because Trump has been charged again. Like, what a really poor argument. But that argument depends on the fact that they believe that their audience is in the bubble of today.
Yeah.
Only paying attention to what happens today. Don't know what happened last week. Don't know what happened the week before. Don't know what happened a year ago. Don't know what happened in October of 20 and the Hunter laptop story. They believe they're just in it today, so we can use this. It is, I'm telling you, it really is poor. I mean, and they're not convincing Americans because all the polling shows it's only going in one way.
Right.
This isn't like, the Kamala Harris when she responded last week about the good polls that she has.
No one's ever talking about the good polls. They don't cover that. Which ones would those be? See? You don't even know. Well, do you have them with you? No, because not even I am covering them. That's how bad the media is.
You weren't there when we polled the Harris family.
Yeah, exactly.
We need a Harris poll, a Kamala Harris family poll.
3 out of the 4 members of the family, that's 75% approve of me.
And nobody in this media would ask the important question.
Yeah.
Well, what family member?
Yeah. Which of the 4? Which of the 4?
Since they never ask the right questions ever,
nobody
would ask that obvious next question.
Yeah.
Well, who in your family didn't vote for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Who in your family thinks you're crooked?
Yeah.
Who in your family thinks you're a horrible vice president?
Mm.
I think there was another New York Times article over the weekend.
Yeah.
I saw it somewhere about promoting that she's really done a great job. It's just she's been limited because of the things that have been thrown at her. Now, there is partial truth to that.
Yeah,
Biden did give her things that he knew she couldn't even touch or wasn't capable of solving.
Oh, yeah.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Hurley, and I'm Gary McNamara. And there it is. Kristen Sinema is furious with the Biden administration and congressional Democrats' immigration policies, and she is not biting her tongue ahead of President Biden's upcoming trip to Arizona.
Yeah.
Now, that's the first time that I've heard her that strong.
Yeah, it is.
Or an article on her being that strong against what's going on. Because she's been pretty quiet the last few months, has she not?
No, she has been. And inevitably, it's going to be, that it's going to come back around. She's grandstanding for 24, but I don't know. I don't know where Arizona is right now, but clearly there's some pressure on her by voters there to do something about the border.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.